Why did we move? Why did we leave America? Why did we leave all the comfort? Why did we bring our 6 kids?
Yeah, so we brought our 6 kids because we weren't going to leave them. They had to come with us.
Welcome to R8 in Asia. We are so grateful you're here. We're the McDonald's, a family of 8 who is documenting our journey from normal American life to living in Central Asia. We share the honest truth about packing up your entire lives, moving across the world to a nation you've never even visited. Subscribe and follow along.
Okay, guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel.
Welcome back.
It's been a while, been a hot minute. Let's just give a little update on life.
Okay.
We've been here in Kyrgyzstan for 3 months now.
Mm-hmm.
And how is it? How do you feel?
I feel great. It's good. We're adjusting to all the little nuances of a different culture and figuring things out, making friends, and just getting into regular life.
Yeah, I think the first month we went really hard. People were even like, "How are you out of your house already? We stay in our house for weeks." But we obviously, having 6 kids kind of forces you to get out, find things to do, find coffee shops, find activities. And then I feel like in the last few weeks we kind of just hit a wall of exhaustion. And just kind of that reality sinking in of, just that we live here now and it's good, but it's definitely hard. Has its hard moments, has its those culture shock moments of things being more difficult than America or just taking more energy, more time. So today we're gonna jump into some questions that I had gotten on my Instagram almost 3 months ago now.
Mm-hmm.
I've been wanting to do this video, and we kind of just hit that wall of exhaustion and have really scaled back just kind of activities and things. But I think we're starting to level out a little bit and get back to finding the things that we want to do, right? Activities we want to be part of, relationships we want to grow, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got a lot of the same questions, so we're going to just tackle 4 or 5 of the main ones. The biggest question, still to this day, 3 months later, is why did we move? And we're going to tackle that in a few parts. 1, why did we make this big move with 6 kids, leaving America, where we're from, comfort, we know the language, all of that. Why Kyrgyzstan as opposed to other countries? How did we land here? And
why specifically Bishkek?
Yeah. So Mike, why did we move? Why did we leave America? Why did we leave all the comfort? Why did we bring our 6 kids?
Yeah, so we brought our 6 kids because we weren't going to leave them. They had to come with us. But no, I think as a family, as a couple, Jen and I have always loved travel. We've loved the nations of the world. We've loved different cultures and meeting new people, experiencing new things. And so we've always had a desire to live overseas. Again, we used to live overseas when we were younger. And we've been fortunate enough to travel to a bunch of different countries, and we love it. We absolutely love it. We also know people that don't love it, and it's not really for them. They'd rather stay in their hometown or in a place that's comfortable to them, and there's nothing wrong with that. That just isn't us. So I think that we've kind of passed that gene of wanting to explore and adventurousness to our children. I mean, they seem to really like exploring and some of the same things that we like, probably just because we're their parents. But I mean, that's a huge reason.
When I started dating, it was something that he too enjoyed and wanted to do more of. So since the beginning, we just kind of had this clear understanding that travel, but not just travel, that living abroad was something that we both wanted to do, and that was going to be a part of our life. So we did live in Muscat, Oman when we were younger, when we just had one kid, and then we have been kind of just waiting in America the last 8 years, having babies, growing our family, learning about business, all that kind of stuff, waiting for the right opportunity to present itself. And yeah, our kids, like, they're still young enough where we definitely involve them in the conversation, but we are the ones obviously making the decision. And from the beginning, we shared with them what we were thinking. We showed them videos of Kyrgyzstan. We learned really about the country together and prepped for this experience together as a family. So when it came time for us to move, they very much felt a part of the decision, felt a part of the move, had the things that they each were specifically excited about. So while we're the parents who ultimately made the decision, they were a part of it from the beginning. Like, we spent many nights when we lived in America watching documentaries and finding there's really not that much out there about Kyrgyzstan, but watching every YouTube video, documentary thing that we could, so we could all learn about it together as a family. So it definitely was not a quick, like, just surprise to them. They were very much a part of the whole conversation from the. So that leads us to the next part of that question, which is, why Kyrgyzstan over all the other countries?
Yeah, I think part of it is the fact that Kyrgyzstan is not widely talked about. Like, there's not a ton of resources about it. It's not something very many people from where we're from know too much about. So there's kind of like this mystery, kind of this like, oh, I wonder what it's really like. I think another part of it is the fact that we knew some people that had been here or that were here currently. And so it's always nice to go somewhere where you know somebody. And so that was another part of it. And the more we learned about Kyrgyzstan, the culture, the people groups, the food, the landscape, just a lot of different things, it was just really cool, really appealing, and just seemed like a very fun opportunity. And yeah.
So yeah, one of the big questions that I get on Instagram comments and stuff is, okay, I understand you want to travel, you don't want to live in America, but like, why Kyrgyzstan? Out of all the countries of the world, why not Europe? Nice, they have great healthcare, they have adventure, they have the beauty, all of that. And I think, like Mike said, part of it is we didn't have a desire to just move somewhere that looks kind of like America, but maybe just a little bit different, has all the comforts of home. Like, Europe is beautiful, and I want to travel there with our kids. Even places like Beijing or different, major cities, they're awesome, but they are very much just like America, but a little different. And we wanted to take this opportunity to explore parts of the world that are not as common. We still wanted to live in a place that had, access to hospitals, access to medical care, where we could, be reachable, have like a main airport, things like that. So we did obviously into consideration. We do have 6 small children. Being in the bush in Africa maybe wasn't where we wanted to go right now in our life.
Yeah.
But we wanted to go to an more unknown place that was full of adventure, and that we didn't just feel like, yeah, we're basically in America, but just a little bit different. I think Kyrgyzstan offers that. It is Bishkek specifically is a major city. It is the capital. It has, a lot of those touches of like home, you could say, food that is familiar in ways, or decent health care. We have an American doctor now, things like that. But it definitely offers that off the grid a little bit. Life is not like America here. And I think that's actually a pro for our family. Like Mike said, it's not a pro for everybody, but it's a pro for our family. We wanted to give our kids, and we wanted to live a life that is outside of the box, that is countercultural, that doesn't just feel like America. If we wanted to live in America or wanted to feel like that, we would just live in America by our families. the last part of that question is why Bishkek specifically? So.
Yeah, Bishkek is the capital city of this country, so it's the biggest city. I mean, there are other big cities, but this is the most well-known city, I think, in the country, and that's also there was a few American couples that we knew here, and so they lived here, and that was another reason for coming here specifically, as opposed to another city in this country. And yeah, I just think it's a good city to live in. It's everybody's nice for the most part. There's a lot to do, a lot of things to explore. And if we wanted to go somewhere else from here within the country, then I think it's a good starting place. So
yeah, I think it's definitely like a good starting place. We don't have plans to necessarily move anywhere else, but this is a good jumping off point if we felt like in the future we wanted to move to Osh or Karakol or some other like
village.
Better known cities, but they're definitely not Bishkek. But this is a great place to learn the language. We already had friends here, or people that we at least knew.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that is why Bishkek. There are some other options. If you're looking to move to Kyrgyzstan, there are other options. But Bishkek is a great place to start.
Yeah.
We have found. Okay, so now that that is out of the way, some other random questions that we've got. One is schooling for our kids. So I can tackle this one. So there are local schools here. They mainly speak in Russian. Obviously, our kids don't know Russian yet. And then there are international schools that speak it or that teach in English or Russian or Kyrgyz. But we actually were already homeschooling in America. So we have finished out this school year just continuing their curriculum that they were already doing in America. So that worked out really well. And then we've just decided to continue homeschooling. One, we love the freedom of it. We love the freedom of it in America. We can do fun things like go to a jump park or a water park in the middle of the week before it's super busy. We have the freedom to travel when we want to do activities, to meet with other homeschool families during the week. It just offers a lot of freedom. When our family or friends come to visit, we have the freedom of getting to just be with them and take breaks when we need to take breaks. If we have a hard week with culture shock or other things going on, we have the freedom with homeschool to take a step back and be like, okay, we're just gonna rest this week, or if sickness or different things happen. So we've always chosen, like, the reason why we chose homeschool to begin with in America was for the freedom, and now that just kind of continues here. Our girls are going to be doing, our two oldest girls are going to be doing online homeschool, so it'll be primarily just on the computer, which is cool as they're getting older. Finn, our almost 7-year-old, will be doing just books that we have chosen, just homeschool curriculum. And then Hudson and Ember, who are, Hudson is 5. He's going to be 5.5 when the school year starts. And Ember will be 3.5. They are going to be going actually to a local preschool here. So that one will be taught in Russian. And that will be really cool because if you know anything about kids and languages, they can pick up language so much faster than adults. And so they're going to get the opportunity to be in a preschool, kindergarten, fun setting, start learning, but also hear Russian, hear Kyrgyz, hear English. And it's just right, like a quick walk from our house.
I think that it's nice to be able to control what our kids learn as they get older. In a sense, like what we value and what we want them to learn. That's kind of what another reason why we chose homeschooling in the beginning, was to have a say in what they're hearing 8 hours a day. So yeah, we would like a say in that as their parents, and we feel like that's important. So that's what works for us.
And I think here too with our kids, because there are other homeschool families that we've been able to connect with, they have those friendships now that they're building, and that's really special. This is a huge transition for them, obviously. For all of us it is, but we're trying to, as their parents, kind of soften the blows, where, okay, your friends are homeschooled and you can speak to them in English right now. That is a huge benefit for their transition. So to continue give them space for those relationships is really important. one of the questions was, is there a CrossFit gym near us? So a lot of people know that you do CrossFit. Mm-hmm. I have dabbled in CrossFit. Mm-hmm. We have a desire to possibly start a CrossFit gym here. There's not an official CrossFit affiliate here yet. Mm-hmm. And so lots of CrossFit friends out there. And the question is there a CrossFit gym by us?
So with this being a major city, there's a lot of gyms. Like Jen said, there's not an official CrossFit affiliate, but there are a few gyms that are like CrossFit gyms, functional fitness gyms, whatever, strength and conditioning gyms, whatever you call it. So like a box. And I've been to one of them and it's awesome. The owner's a great guy. They have a really cool community. And there's a few others that I've heard of, and I have some connections with people online. I just haven't met them in person yet. But yeah, there's a small CrossFit scene, but they just maybe don't have the funds or the resources necessarily to affiliate yet. No official affiliate yet, but definitely like a hunger for that. And so there is definitely affiliates coming.
To branch off that, it's funny because a lot of comments that I get on Instagram is like, why would you try to start CrossFit? You obviously don't know the demographics or like the market. Like just all these questions of why CrossFit or that people don't want it here. And we can say 100% that actually the fitness scene in Bishkek is huge and it's just continuing to grow, like especially with young people, but even like at the CrossFit style gym that Mike went to, there were older people as well that were doing it. So
yeah, a lot of people there.
Yeah, so definitely like the culture, there's definitely a fitness scene and culture here that is just continuing to grow. And we know that if we did start a CrossFit gym or we're getting ready to start a run club here, there's definitely a need, a want for it. So
for sure. I think most people that say that don't even understand what CrossFit is.
Yeah.
It's not, you don't open a CrossFit gym to like get rich and make a bunch of money. Yeah. It's a community and of people that value health, value fitness, want to be robust and vital for their children and for their work and for their daily lives. And so it's just a gathering of people that value that, who want to better each other and better themselves. And what better place to do that than a gym with a bunch of people that have the same goals? So that's essentially what it is.
So a few questions about language. One, did we learn what language is spoken here? Did we learn the language before we came? And if not, how's it going with speaking English here? How's our language studies going? Lots of questions about language. So first up, what languages are spoken here and did we learn them?
So here they speak Russian and Kyrgyz, and some people speak English. And I started learning Russian. Jen started learning a little bit of Russian before we came, but not very much. So just like enough to introduce myself, kind of small talk. And since we've got here, we have started taking language classes. We're learning Kyrgyz. And so really like you can either learn Russian or Kyrgyz, and both of those might have their pros and their cons, but nationwide, those are understood basically in this whole region.
Yeah.
Those can help you get around, because if you know Russian, then this whole area that used to be in the Soviet Union is going to have that as their official business language, and everybody speaks Russian or understands it for the most part. And we are learning Kyrgyz. And if you know Kyrgyz, you can speak to anybody that's Kyrgyz, obviously. But with it being a Turkic language, you can also communicate with and understand the language of Uzbek, Kazakh, and even Turkish. So you kind of get 4 for 1 there. So we chose Kyrgyz, and that's what we're going with. And still having to learn some Russian just to get around and order groceries or at restaurants. So we're kind of learning both, but we're really focusing on Kyrgyz.
Yeah, I was going to say that. We kind of are learning both. Seems like almost at the same pace right now, just because we have Kyrgyz lessons, but life kind of forces you to learn and understand Russian. And even our kids, it's been really cool to see them like, Mom, what does "до свидания" mean? What does this mean? Like they're picking it up. They have all of our neighborhood friends don't speak English, all their little friends, so they're hearing Russian a lot. And then we're kind of teaching them some Kyrgyz as we learn different uh, phrases and stuff like that. So, yeah.
And again, like if you know Kyrgyz, you can speak to people in Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, and Turkey. So, I mean, it's...
Yeah. And we picked Kyrgyz too. Some people, even locals, ask us why that, why not Russian? And really, we picked it because we felt like, hey, we want to connect with people on like a deeper level where we've heard it so many times, like if you say hello in Kyrgyz to a Kyrgyz person, they're almost taken back if you start to speak to them in that language because that is their heart language. That is like what they grew up hearing in their home. It's not the official business language. It's not what they're used to hearing white people speak to them. So it's just like a special way to break down those barriers and connect with the culture. And when you go out into villages like outside the main cities, most of those people are speaking Kyrgyz. They're not speaking Russian. So we really do want to connect with this culture and these people in a really unique and special way. And we want them to feel like we came here to love them and get to know them and get to know their culture.
So another question is, how is it speaking English since we don't know other languages yet? It's fine. I mean, I've been places where a lot of people speak English, and this is not one of them. but I mean, there are people that speak English. There's just not everybody. It's not like, common for everybody around you to speak English. But everywhere we go, there's usually a person or a few people that speak English, and we have multiple Kyrgyz friends now that are fluent in English, and we can talk to them, and they've been very helpful, helping us figure out some, glitches and things that have happened since we moved here. Just having somebody that can speak the local language and is a local person, but also speaks English. So they are out there. And there's a lot of people that want to learn English, that they might know a few phrases, just like I know a few phrases in Russian or Kyrgyz, but they are wanting to learn English. So it's just not as common here as some other places that we've been. Like when we lived in Oman, in Muscat, 95% of my friends spoke pretty good English.
I think that is one thing. If you're watching this and you travel a lot, you can think like, oh, it's the capital city, so most people are gonna know English. And I remember, especially at the beginning, that was kind of a bit of a shock to us. Like, there's most people you come in contact with are not going to know English. They might, know a few phrases. Hello, how are you? Where are you from? But beyond that, it's like you're gonna hit a wall. We have found the more we've been out, like restaurants will usually have maybe one person or two people that speak enough English to be able to take your order.
But at this point, we're pretty much able to order.
You can order, and we have great translator apps. But I will say, if you travel a lot and you expect this to be like a Beijing or a Chiang Mai or a Dubai or some of those major cities where most people are going to speak enough English, that is not Bishkek.
You would be wrong.
That's not Bishkek. And honestly, like at moments it is frustrating, or it makes things more exhausting or whatever, because you go grocery shopping or you go do something that would be so normal and you wouldn't even think about it in your home country. And here it's like translating things, trying to understand what they're saying to you. It can cause things to be a little more difficult, but thankfully,
I think it helps. I think it's helpful to help us learn the language because we need to. So like, you're kind of forced to really have to learn a language.
Even though it's the capital city. Oh, look, our neighbor is out on the roof.
What?
They were like out of their windows. Even though it's the capital city, we are definitely still immersed in the culture and the language, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so another question we got was, how are our kids doing? How are they assimilating? How are they getting along with the transition here? I think like every time we hit like our next month mark, I try to intentionally kind of go around and be like, how are you guys doing? How do you like living here? Is there any negatives, positives, whatever? And thankfully, it's been for them overall a good transition. We've definitely seen some moments of where maybe extra attitude or extra where they wouldn't even realize it. This is probably because this was a massive transition, but just the way that they're responding and reacting to things, we're like, okay, this is probably because they're just processing how big of a change this was. There's definitely been those moments, but if you ask them, it's, I mean, I think they're enjoying their life.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there are negatives, and we say like, hey, what are things that you don't like? Are things like, I didn't get ice cream yesterday, like just like ridiculous. Like, okay, well, if that's the worst thing in your life right now, then that's a good thing. Yeah, they have good communication with their grandparents back home, with FaceTime and everything like that. We actually have Jen's parents coming to visit next month, and yeah, they have a good mix of like their English speaking friends that they see often and get to do things with. And then like every single day, our courtyard and house is full of all the little neighbor kids, and they're over running to the neighbors' houses and biking up and down our street and picking cherries with the neighbors and like making homemade jam and stuff. So like their life is full and it's good, and they seem happy. Yeah. So all the people that said we were ruining our children's lives, I guess it could be worse.
So I think those are the major questions that we got. If you have more questions, just drop them in the comments here on YouTube, and we will make another Q&A video if you guys enjoy these. But yeah, so just looking ahead to the coming few months.
So it's July.
Yeah, so we're very much in the thick of summer here. Thankfully, it hasn't been too bad of a summer. The weather is comparable to like, well, actually, I heard South Carolina is very hot right now.
Yeah.
It's been like 80s, some 90s in days, some 70s days in the middle of July. So it's been beautiful. We have been going to water parks and going to playgrounds and going to jump parks and all the fun things for the kids. Mike's involved in jujitsu. I've been running more, just really beginning to kind of find our new rhythms here, which has been something I have been desperate for personally, just kind of finding rhythms here in this life. And looking ahead, my parents are coming, like Mike said, and we mentioned we're starting a run club here, which we're really excited to start gathering people and running and getting to know just more local friends. I think that'll be really special. And you can find more about that, I think, on our Instagrams, where we're sharing more about that run club and kind of just, yeah, the brand of Feral Feet is what it's called. Just kind of encouraging people to get out and do wild things, get out and see where their wild feet will take them. So we're stoked about that. That has been exciting for us to begin to think about the run club, the brand, all that fun stuff. And then, yeah, then it's going to be, before we know it, it's going to be fall. And I have heard from so many people how beautiful fall is here. We saw videos and pictures before we moved, but yeah, it's going to be just so fun. So fall starts like end of September, so we really only have like 2 months till fall starts, which is really fun. I'm excited for.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think with the fall comes hockey season here, which we didn't have living in the South.
Get the boys in hockey.
See if the boys could be a part of a hockey team, and that'd be really fun. Yep. Maybe even slip into a few dad games myself. I don't know. But it could be really fun.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think that we'd love to do this again if people have more questions, different questions, now that we've been here a little while. And we'd love to answer them.
And make sure you're following R8 in Asia on Instagram. That's kind of where we share like short reels and just kind of day in the life stuff. And don't forget to subscribe and share our YouTube channel with your friends, because yeah, we want to share our life here and grow this little community on YouTube and Instagram.
Yeah. Thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for listening.
Be blessed.
Hope you have a great day.